And welcome back to the second episode of the Sunday Anime Chat podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Scism, and I'm joined by my awesome, amazing co-host,
Veronica McFarland.
And we just wanted to tell you good morning on this wonderful Sunday. Today's episode, actually before that, what have you been watching lately?
Well, I recently just rewatched Trigun because I love this series so much. And various other animes. I mean...
Oh, what's the big one? This tickled me to my spine because this has been on the list. And if to any new listener, what the list is, anime that's on Curtis's list to make Veronica watch.
Which would be Samurai Champloo.
What did you think of Samurai Champloo?
It was good. I mean, it definitely had the bebop feel. It definitely had the... I would call it, especially you need to smoke something or take a shroom before you watch this series because it definitely has that feeling. Not that every episode's like it, but it definitely has that whole Western feeling to the music, to the animation, and then you have the whole, it's Edo era samurais too, so it's like, wow, okay.
With hip-hop.
Yeah, with hip-hop.
And I'm so glad you watched that series, and I cannot wait till... one of these days, one of these months, we'll talk about Samurai Champloo. What else did you completed another series recently?
Well, let's see. I've completed Sakamoto Desu Ka. I've started another series that I really like that I may share on my own YouTube channel called Chihaya Furu, which is about a Japanese card game, which is really awesome. I was surprised that anime can even make card games amazing.
Well, they've been doing it for a while.
And we've also just watched Someplace Further Than the Universe, which we'll also do an episode
Oh
on
my
here.
gosh, what did you think of that show? It's funny because there's, on the list, there are shows that I will absolutely defend to the death. Like, for V, you gotta watch this with me. You've gotta watch it. This was a mutual one. This was both on our radar, I know.
Yeah, because we watch the same anime reviewers, and they're all like, please watch this show. It's so good. It's so scenic. And yeah, amazing animation, good music score.
Good tone, good pace. It's only 13 episodes as well. So it's not a super heavy investment like a shonen. Anything else that you've done?
Recently, not so much.
Let's see. A few weeks ago, I got to record with the in-game boss program, Jeremy Evans, and I was a guest on his podcast with Travis Hanna. The podcast is called Bond Never Dies, and we got to talk about a James Bond movie in the Pierce Brosnan era. It was also Jeremy and I's favorite James Bond movie in the Brosnan era. And I think overall, if I have to double check with Jeremy, but give that a listen to. You can find Jeremy on the In-Game Boss Program page on Podbean, YouTube, and iTunes. And you can find our channel also on Spreaker.com under Sunday Anime Chat Podcast. And thank you very much to Veronica. We have a YouTube channel bootlegging off of her YouTube channel. And that is...
It's under my book title. I write a children's book on the side, and it's called The Little and Big Adventures of Mr. Alligator, and my YouTube channel is called Mr. Alligator Story.
And it's a wonderful book. It's on sale, isn't it?
Yep, and I've just started writing my second book.
When did you start that?
Just this past week.
Congrats. Wow, that is excellent.
Yep. I plan to get a new digital art pad to start a new art style too as well. So it'll be, I hopefully by 2020. This is going to be a while.
That's excellent to hear. Well, let's jump right into it. We are going to review and discuss in depth, hopefully, the anime series Trigun. I know Trigun was definitely on the list that I wanted to show you, because of all the bebop stuff. Because we had seen it right after, about a year after I showed you Bebop. if I remember.
Yeah, it was done really close to Bebop, and because I remember you telling me that some people really love Cowboy Bebop for things, while others really enjoy Trigun better, and I'm more in the Trigun camp.
And also Outlaw Star. It's almost a three-way cat fight of fanboys over they pick one, or they love one and they appreciate the other two, or they appreciate one and yeah, the other one's just not, I'm not feeling it.
Right.
So you're definitely more on the Trigun. I'm definitely more heavily favoring a Bebop, and we'll talk about that episode sometime this year, I hope. So Trigun, the story of it, you follow a man named Vash the Stampede. He is the main character. Ironically, you do not start the series out with him, though. You started out with two ladies who work for an insurance company named Meryl Strife and Millie Thompson. And they are assigned with the task by their insurance company is to track down Vash the Stampede, an infamous outlaw and mass murderer and destruction of property, and make sure that the insurance company will, insure his damages? Like, just keep him in check?
Well, yeah, pretty much they're there just to monitor him to
Make sure he doesn't blow up
try to
stuff.
prevent further disasters and costing their insurance company a lot of money.
So, the build up to Vash, it's absolutely hysterical because he's like 7 feet tall. He's the humanoid typhoon. He'll shoot you dead if you make eye contact with him. Merely walking into city, he's like a walking machine of carnage and death. And it turns out
He's just a big blonde-haired doofus.
he is absolutely nothing of the aforementioned things at all. And I was getting excited too because, when you look at the opening of Trigun, he's all serious. He's drawn real serious. He has those cool sunglasses. It's like, man, this is a vicious mother effer. He's going to murder people. And your first scene, runs out of bullets, gets in a gunfight, not even trying to kill the bandits who are trying to apprehend him. And he is an absolute goofball, and it is wonderful.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me when we first watching it that it's not even till about episode 6 before Vash even fires a shot. So, I mean, the passiveness level on this guy is amazing. He absolutely steadfastly refuses to kill anyone. So it's completely opposite to his, rumored image of bloodthirsty killer.
The build up to him firing the gun, and I definitely want to give credit to Bennett the Sage. He is a YouTuber formerly of That Guy with the Glasses, and he did a lot of YouTube anime reviews, and Trigun was one of them, where he described personally how he felt about taking so long, the build up of suspense of Vash firing that hand cannon of his. And I will quote him a little bit. You're 6 episodes in, you just do something. Oh my goodness. And when there's no soundtrack when he's firing his gun in this fight. It's just 6 shots. He empties out the clip. Boom. Boom, boom. And then everything speeds back up, and you realize that he ends up saving the people that were attacked by then I think they were called the Nebraska Brothers. Yep. And it was this giant spinning fist that he changed the trajectory of the fist with his 6 shots. And it's so cool because everything's in slow-mo, but what's happening in real time. And it's like, man, that is really incredible. He's a really incredible marksman. And when you look at it in real time, real life, and you actually do study about firearms shooting. Vash is absolutely nothing like what he's been rumored to be, built up to be. He's an absolute goofball, and we love him for that too. Mm-hmm. It's almost reminiscent of Dragon Ball Goku, but plug up the intelligence maybe about 160. Because he's
Yeah.
okay. Vash is so deceptive because he will act like an idiot,
Yeah.
but goofy. And he's really smart too, very intelligent.
Yeah.
And that is definitely how I would describe him. Is he's very Goku-esque, but crank up the intellect a bit. Meryl and Millie are the comedic bounce off from Vash. They're kind of the straight man to his antics. Vash is a womanizer, flirty, and no shame about it, which is absolutely wonderful in this current year.
Well, actually, Vash is very much of a gentleman in how he treats
That
women.
is right.
You think he's going to be this all-out pervert because he's always getting grief from Millie and especially Meryl for being such a stupid idiot pervert, but he doesn't touch women inappropriately. He doesn't do anything. He's always saying, "I'm chasing the elusive mayfly of love."
Yes.
And he says these cheesy little sayings that he says. And yeah, we love that for him.
Did you listen? You watched it with me in the dub. Did you listen to it subbed on your own?
I listened both times to the dub because I love the dub voice cast.
So, Trigun was one of the first early roles for Johnny Young Bosch. He was the second Black Power Ranger. And he was cast because he had just a very heroic voice. He would do quite a few scenes of, like, it's morphing time, and he'd initiate the morph sequences in Power Rangers. And he went on to do Ichigo prominently, and then we talked about him last episode portraying Rossiu from Gurren Lagann. So he definitely he's done a lot of stuff. His career just boomed after Trigun. This is probably my second favorite role that he's done. Ichigo, I can't be biased. I have to be biased. Ichigo is my favorite role that he's ever done. Third favorite role is Kiba from Wolf's Rain. I think that was a lot of emotional lines in that too for the character that he was. And Rossiu, I love Rossiu even though he's a douche. Getting back on track to Trigun, Vash, you mentioned pacifism. Let's talk a little about that.
Yeah, his pacifism goes. I mean, the episodes build on each other. At first, we don't know hardly anything about Vash and why he's such a pacifist. I mean, he's such an excellent marksman. Why would he not take a life? Because there's several situations that he finds himself in that you were like, okay, he's going to do it because this is kind of like a life or death situation. But this is another thing I love about this show. I love it so much is because finally there's a main character, and there's very few in any Japanese anime where you'll have a main character refuse to take the life of another and still be a badass. I mean, he's very much, if you want to think about it, a very goofy version of the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger was an old TV series and comic book series of this, marksman who never would kill anyone, but he was extremely good. He was extremely precise, and his thing was that I can be precise, and I can use this precision to never kill anyone.
Mm-hmm. And despite all the horrible things that have happened to him, too, which we'll get into later, but the first time the insurance girls, Millie and Meryl, walk in on him after he's taking a shower and his shirt's off, and you see that he has a prosthetic arm. He's scarred from head to toe on his chest. There are chunks of skin just gone from him. And to think that all that stuff has happened, he lets that stuff happen to him so he doesn't kill back in self-defense. And it would be justified at that point, too, the kind of damage he's taken. And he's what would you say, idealist because of the pacifism. He's a true idealist. He's unwilling to bend at all. And I love the insurance girls because they're kind of that realist in the series. Or that would almost be more Nicholas Wolfwood. is a realist.
Yeah, he's more of their realist, but of course he's hiding the fact that his whole life he's actually been a murderer and a killer. I mean,
Yes.
he's pretending to be a priest. He's really not. I mean, really, he's the infamous Chapel, but we don't even find that out until much later in the series. Much later in the series.
So Nicholas Wolfwood is the complete shadow to Vash in the sense of, hey, if it's either you or me, and I'm gonna choose me every time in a gunfight, and you've got to kill to make things happen. And it's funny because he does pose as a preacher, and he some of those episodes are really funny too. Yes, he's the first time he meets Vash is out in the desert, and there's this funny exchange of them on this bus together. It's like, so have you been to confession? I have a portable confession booth right here, and puts this chapel on his head, on Vash's head.
He also tries to use his preacherly services to get discounts for bus tickets and stuff like that too. Yeah, Wolfwood he's an interesting character. Definitely the more of the realist to Vash's, kind of naivete and idealism.
And Wolfwood is my favorite character in the series because of his hard-nosed attitude, and he reminds me a lot of Spike Spiegel from Bebop. Not only in character design, well, definitely character design. It's like they went to the same designer for their clothes, minus the yellow shirt.
And the cigarette butt always hanging
The
out of his mouth.
cigarette butt and the reliance on pistols. Yeah. I do want to shout out to Wolfwood because in anime, traditionally, it's always the giant sword. It's always the big 7-foot, 5-foot bladed sword. He has a 5-foot cross that is a machine gun. And it comes equipped with, I think, 2 rows of 8 hand pistols on each end. And he can stand behind the cross, takes all the bullets like a barrier.
And he has like a launcher in there too.
Yeah, he has a rocket launcher in it too. And it's like, I'm killing with the power of the power of Christ. It's like, oh man, he makes some line about that too. It is so funny. And divine justice or something. And what's really cool for a side character, he was really almost the equal of Vash too. A lot of series, your protagonist will have a rival, but they'll skyrocket past that rival. And it's like that for a while. With this, it's really, man, you almost want to see them in a gunfight to see actually who would win. And the episode almost comes close. There's one episode where there's a shooting contest in a town, and it's dead even almost. And they end up having a duel to the death, and they intentionally miss each other. And with the ketchup, they pretend to both be shot. Getting back to the story, and very similar to how Cowboy Bebop was paced, there really isn't a story until episode 8, episode 12, and then it's kind of goes off for a while, then it comes back, and strong too. Vash was born on Earth as an energy source. He was a new technology of life that could essentially act like a nuclear power plant.
Biologically engineered plant human.
And he had a twin brother named Knives, and he had the same benefit. So they move off of Earth on a space mission to find another planet that they can colonialize, essentially, because of overpopulation or the Wall-E effect of just pollutants and everything. And Knives is the other character I really like as a villain, because he's Wolfwood, but absolutely evil, in the sense that he's a realist as well, but he's an idealist radical in the opposite end of Vash. So he's a nice blend between... He is a nice blend between Wolfwood and Vash in a sense.
Well, I would say he's more like he's a very sad, lonely kind of person because he sees the flaws in humanity, and he's like most of us on our most depressed days. We're like, humans should just be wiped off the face of the earth. There's going to be no utopia. There's no going to be no Eden because they keep promising, we'll make a paradise on earth. This whole mission, we're going to make this new paradise. And well, Knives believes that the only true paradise is one just of, nature and plants. There's this very green message that's mild throughout the series. You don't notice it because of all the gunfights and the kind of the Western themes and all the action that goes on. But yeah, there definitely is this kind of a green message of humans need to watch their pollutants. They need to take care of the planet. They need to not kill each other so much. It definitely has that overarching message throughout the series.
One of my favorite scenes was a flashback to when they were children, and there's a butterfly stuck in the spider web, and the spider's about to get it. And Vash is trying to save both. And Knives comes along and he kills the butterfly and the spider. He kills both. And Vash is like, why'd you do that? And he's like, well, you can't pick sides. If you free that, well, the spider's going to starve. And the butterfly's just going to die another day anyways. It's going to get caught again.
Actually, I believe he just kills the spider in this case.
Okay.
He wanted to save both. Vash wanted to save both of them, but Knives kills the spider, and he's like, "That's a stupid way of looking at it, Vash. The spider needs the butterfly to survive, and the butterfly just goes on because butterflies, they have a certain life cycle. But I don't believe that Knives actually kills the butterfly. I think it was his thing of, well, he's not all evil because he does see the need to get rid of the spider.
Okay.
But in this, it was kind of mirroring that he sees humanity like the spider, and he sees himself, this, genetically perfect being, as more like a beautiful butterfly.
Yes. And I absolutely love that scene. I love the acting and the delivery in that scene. You really don't see Vash upset. I think maybe 6 times. I think it's under 10. Because more times than not, he is absolutely faking.
Yeah.
He's trying to put on a brave face of happy and cheery.
Yeah, Wolfwood makes a point of that. One time he sees him actually truly smile, and he's like, "There's an actual smile. You have the smile of someone who's actually hiding all its pain." Pretty much is what he told him.
And I love the dynamics between Wolfwood and Vash. A lot of times, your main character can do no wrong. They never get called out on stuff. In a lot of shonen series too, and I love that there's a character that is flawed, but it does not let it. I also like Vash for this reason, because of all the tragicness that has happened in his life, it does not define who he is. He does not let it define him. Going back to the Sage review, he compared to Vash the Stampede to Sasuke Uchiha. Similar characters, betrayed by their brother. Brother did horrific things to them. Where Vash kind of rolls with the punches, goes with each day, try to make the best out of a horrible situation. Sasuke gets absorbed by it, and it drives him to horrific things in Shippuden.
In this case, Knives would be more like the Sasuke.
Yeah.
And Vash definitely is more of a Naruto.
But yeah, that's also a well-written character though.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of Bennett was saying, is like Sasuke is a badly written character because you're just letting that define you.
Right.
Vash is a far superior written character. Don't get me wrong, I also have a soft spot for Sasuke Uchiha. I like his character development throughout Shippuden, so put down the pitchforks, people.
Oh, Sasuke can go bite it. So Sakura can go bite it too.
Oh no! What have you done?
It's okay. People, you can hate me, but don't hate Curtis.
Let's talk about. So we've talked about knives. We've talked about Wolfwood. Going back to Wolfwood really quick, I do love that. I was talking about he calls Vash out on stuff. Vash also calls him out on stuff too, and it's literally almost a child saying, "You're a horrible person." There's like this moment. It's like, oh, but come on, really, Vash?
Yeah,
They're held at gunpoint by one of the Gung Ho Guns, a gang of pretty much outlaws and murderers hired by Knives to make Vash the Stampede lose his mind, suffer every emotional downfall possible, and ultimately to break him, to break his code of killing. And Zazie the Beast is notable because he is a little kid. He is a serial killer, and he has people held hostage. He has, I think it was the insurance girls, wasn't it?
He was posing as one of the kind of these orphans. They were outside this town. They're being chased by basically sandworms, and they've gotten cornered in this position on top of this building. And, you know, everything's quiet again, and it looks like everything's done. But he, you know, finally Vash discovers, like, well, why are all these sandworms coming in here? Well, it ends up that he's wearing this thing on his head that's calling in the sandworms to attack this town, and he breaks it, and thus his cover is exposed. He's pretending to be one of these orphans, but no, he's actually one of the Gun Ho Guns. And so he's like, oh, you know, the gig is up. So he turns the gun to actually Vash, and back and forth between the group of kids and the insurance girls, and then Vash. And Wolfwood is in the mix, and he's like, I don't want to see Vash die. Because what none of us know is that, you know, Wolfwood has actually been sent to, you know, monitor him and pretty much eventually kill him because, well, not really kill him. I think he was more sent to monitor him than anything else by Knives, but he was actually hired by Knives, and no one knows. But he's grown so attached to Vash. Vash has changed his character over time to being more of the pacifist. You see him holding back, not shooting, but he finally shoots this kid, and Vash just tears this rift between these two characters that have slowly grown closer.
Oh, I know, and it's just like, oh my gosh, mommy and daddy, please stop fighting. Just like, it was very uncomfortable, cause you. And that, I will give credit to the show, because that's just well-written characters. And you, oh my gosh, stop, come on, guys. And even the insurance goes like, oh, does it really have to be like this? Are you guys really going to go your separate ways? And ultimately, that leads to Wolfwood's downfall, very sadly, too. Going through the Gung Ho Guns, and we are not going to go through all of them, because there are too many. Knives we obviously talked about. Legato Blue Summers, kind of the lieutenant of the. Man, I love his character design. I love that skull on his shoulder. I love the introduction to him in that town square. The little girl comes up and he like puts his hand on, like, oh, she's gonna, and it's like about to crush her head. And the music changes too, just to this electric digital grinding sound. It changes the complete tone from the Western setting music too, and it's one of those episodes like, oh my gosh, the stuff got real just now. And Legato Blue Summers was able to control people with his telekinesis, force them to do things that they wouldn't normally do, killed an entire gang of bikers without lifting a finger. And he didn't even get his hands dirty. He had one of the guys do it.
Yeah, well, I think he pretty much makes a quote of, now he's the one that has the arm of Vash. Attached to him. So he pretty much tells Vash, well, this is what I can achieve with just a fraction of your ability. With just one of your arms, this is what I can achieve, and you're so weak because you have a whole body of the superior being that has superior power over these humans, but you choose not to use it. And that's also Knives' point. too.
Yeah.
That Vash is so weak and humbled that he chooses not to use this.
We are gods among
over
men.
people.
What are you doing?
Right, exactly.
And Knives, going into the backstory of Knives, Knives led to the downfall of the said space crew. He turns everyone against each other, manipulates people into doing things. And the real tragedy is Rim. Rim is